This is the new reality for people living on the border between Lebanon and Israel. Almost 9 months of rocket attacks and drone strikes have caused civilians to flee on both sides. Now, an all-out war is threatened between Israel and Hezbollah. Only a handful of residents remain in the border town of Kiryat Shimona, where there's just one diner doing business, a shawarma restaurant packed with troops. We pile in and manage to order lunch before the first siren goes off. We're having to take shelter in a shawarma restaurant in Kiryat Shimona. Hezbollah has well and truly woken up this afternoon. This is the third barrage we've had in the space of half an hour. We're sitting around with soldiers on a break and everyone's run into the kitchen to take shelter. You can see the devastation in the town. They've had a short break for Eid and now they've very much started up again. So yeah, things are tense.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Hezbollah started pounding the north of Israel with rocket fire on October the 8th in a show of support for Hamas, which prompted Israel to give an unprecedented order to evacuate the region. For reservist Lior Shelef, this already feels like a win for Hezbollah. He is one of the few remaining men left defending his kibbutz of Snir on the border.
I don't see my kids. My kids are evacuated for 255 days now or so. Problem is the terror organization. In '82, Hezbollah was built in Lebanon and they claim to be the defender of the South in the beginning, and now they took the word South down. Now the defender of Lebanon. They're not defending Lebanon. From the beginning of May, they went to their third stage, and the third stage is both starting working on the cattle land around us. They're causing bushfires on purpose because they know it will hurt us. And the second, and also starting throwing rockets to army bases, for example, on the Golan, but they know that these rockets will fly above the Hula Valley, which means they will start the alarms in all the kibbutzim in the valley. I think that Israel is always ready for a war. Unfortunately, being a small country in the Mediterranean, we have no other option of being prepared for a war. I'm far from being, highly ranked officer in the army to answer this question. And the fact of the matter is that I honestly don't know what will happen tomorrow.
We've come to Kiryat Shimona. This is Israel's largest city on the Lebanese border. Usually it's home to 24,000 people, but today it's a ghost town. You can see the mountain behind me, which marks the border between Lebanon and Israel. Hezbollah says it's been targeting Israeli military infrastructure, which is scattered along this mountain. But we've seen evidence that they've hit civilian infrastructure, both in surrounding villages and in the city beneath us. In recent weeks, they have witnessed the most serious escalation in fighting since the war began. While there are pushes to try and reach a diplomatic solution, those living up here fear that that won't be enough to prevent an attack like that launched by Hamas on October the 7th.
On the hills, there are few kibbutzim. Misgavam is at the end of the hill. You can see it's a little bit with trees over there.
Over 60,000 Israelis have been displaced from the north. Local council leader Erez Bergman and his family initially left their home on the border in Snir, but after enduring half a year living in hotels, they decided to return 2 months ago.
Last week, I tried for the first time to go with my little daughter. She's 9 years old. To the garden here, a playground. After we weren't here 8 months, and we went there for the first time. And at the middle, there was a dome attack, and we just found ourselves 5 sirens, one after another, hiding in the middle of the playground. It was a really hard experience for her and for me.
How close was it to you?
It was on our heads, just above our heads.
I mean, how did you feel at that moment?
Afraid. We photoed it on video. So It sounds very strange because you can hear the birds and you can hear the aircraft. There was a dome of Hezbollah, a few of them. They flew over our heads and went to attack one of the bases here on the mountain. And the Israeli jet tried to shoot them down.
Shooting down the drone?
Yeah, didn't succeed in that case. They tried. I prefer a place with a flight simulation instead of it.
As we talk, Colonel Bergman's son, Mika, runs out of his room to show us something. It's the wreckage of the suicide drone from that day. He found it not far from their home. Across the border in Lebanon, we witness scenes of total devastation. Entire houses have been flattened. Villages are abandoned. Lebanese villagers are counting the human cost of this conflict. Local nurse Sally Sikiki was one of 2 women killed when an Israeli strike hit a residential building last month.
النوع بقلبها كتير أبيض وطيب وعطول بتضحك وبتحب الرفقة وبتحب إنه العجقات والمرحة كتير كتير. ووقت ما صارت الحادثة إما كانت عندي يعني قبل ما تصير الحادثة بدقيقة إما حكتها قالت لها يلا شوي وبجي يعمل الأرجيلة ما لحقتش يمكن تعمل الأرجيلة صارت الضربة. لما وصل الخبر إما دغري صرخت راحت سالي راحت يعني حاسة قلبها كان عندها إحساس إنه بنتها راحت. صراحة كتير صدمنا يعني حتى بتحس إنه هيدا حلم مش قادرين نفتح عينينا إنه شخص كنا عم نحكي معه.
In southern Lebanon, nearly 100,000 people have fled their homes. Villages sit empty and silent. Many Lebanese residents have taken refuge in the city of Sur.
كنت مدوي سبيكر وعم نشتغل والولاد عم يتسبحوا. دقت لي اختي قاعده بحريص قالت لي انت سمعت عم تعملي بالبيت. قلت لها انا لشوفي قالت لي ما عم تسمعي صوت الضرب صار الضرب بيت ليف عم يقولوا. قمت طفيت السبيكر ما بسمع الا الابواب عندي بتعمل هيك بتخبط خبطه قويه. هون الولاد صاروا يبكوا في عندي اوضه صغيره قعدنا فيها.
This woman is from the village of Bustane on the Israeli border. She says her family have been badly affected by the use of white phosphorus.
في عندي أهل بس أهلي ضلوا فوق يعني كل الحرب وكل يعني كثير تعذبوا فسفوري واختنقوا وفاتوا على المستشفيات عند الطوارئ ونزلوا هون يعني وناموا تحت السيارة ويعني وشو بدي أقول لك يعني قد ما بدك تعذب. بيختنق الواحد وإذا أنت قدامي ما بقشعك ما بشوفك من مرة وبعد شهرين 3 و4 إذا لكشته بإيدك رجع بيولع من أول جديد لأن في ناس لك شو رجع احترق وجهن من بعد أكثر من شهرين.
White phosphorus is illegal to use on civilian areas but can be used in war to form dense smokescreens or mark targets. The IDF refutes claims that it is using the substance as a weapon.
Level 2, Level 2, Level 2.
After the 2006 Lebanon war, a UN resolution was implemented which ordered Hezbollah to retreat north of the Litani River, 18 miles or 30 kilometers from Israel. The United Nations Interim Force Lebanon, known as UNIFIL, was set up to enforce this. But despite 11,000 peacekeepers patrolling the border, Hezbollah has amassed thousands of fighters while Israeli jets fly over daily. Now it sits on the precipice of war.
إذا فرضت الحرب على لبنان فإن المقاومة ستقاتل بلا ضوابط وبلا قواعد وبلا أسقف.
The pressure is on to find a diplomatic solution that can return people to their homes. Otherwise, a regional war threatens to wreak destruction on a terrifying scale. far beyond even the horrors witnessed in Gaza. As fighting in the south winds down, the IDF has started shifting serious military hardware north. For those living up here, the question is not if Israel will invade Lebanon, but when.